Let's talk about micromanagement. If you check out the word micromanage in the dictionary, or if you Google the word, you will see that it means to control every aspect of an activity or an enterprise. Every aspect, no matter how small, every detail. It means to control every detail of an activity or an enterprise. So what does it mean to micromanage someone? To micromanage someone, it would be that you want to be able to control aspects of that person's decision making, aspects of that person's work to an extreme degree, or to a level that is more than is necessary or healthy for a normal, usual, comfortable working situation. So in leadership or in management, micromanaging is bad. It gives off the idea that the managers who are micromanaging their employees or other people do not trust them to do the job. So no matter how qualified those people may appear, they do not trust them to do the job. This video is not about micromanagement per se. Now, if you switch that style of leadership to religion, the common idea about God is that he's micromanaging everything. So they have religious words for it. Don't play with religion. Religion will destroy your life. I'm not talking about any particular religion. I'm talking about all of them. Religion will destroy your life. God is not a religious person. Let me reiterate, as I've been saying in my previous videos, Jesus did not come to set up a religion. Jesus is not the founder of any religion. God is not about a religion. So religiously, if you follow formalized theology, in the Christian religion right now, whether it is Christian or any religion, all of them assumes that God micromanages everything. So in Christianity, they say God is sovereign, even though the word sovereign is being abused. So they say he's sovereign, they say he's in control. So a tyrant becomes the leader of a political government, becomes the head of a political government. They say God put him there. If God didn't want him to be there, he wouldn't be there. So they say sovereignty. It stretches wide in several subjects in Christianity. Some get to a point where they say God decides who will be saved and who will be destroyed. They call it predestination. But all these terms, all these philosophies that people come up with and try to back up with the Bible, they have semblance of truth. They are partial truth, but they are not the accurate description of God in those situations. So God doesn't micromanage. Human beings know that micromanagement is a bad style of leadership. It's an evil style of leadership. God doesn't micromanage. From the beginning, God has told us that he gave man dominion or authority. He gave man charge over the earth. So it is from this mindset of God being a micromanager that people comes and say that God is in control of everything. Whatever God wills, that is what will happen. So think with me. If truly God is in control of everything, don't you think he's out of control? He doesn't have things in the right order. That's not how God is. You only, to an extent, micromanage children, toddlers, so that they don't destroy themselves. If you have really taught them and you have groomed them, you have raised them, it gets to a point where micromanagement starts to become trouble, starts to become evil. So God doesn't micromanage us. God is not micromanaging the earth. God has set principles in place. Call it laws, call it principles. In fact, principles are God's automation. So take, for example, the guy who created a program, a computer game, is not in the computer game trying to respond when you play a certain command, when you give a certain command. He's not responding. Those things are programmed already. So principles, God's principles and laws of life are like that. And you find all of them in the Bible. So the Bible is not a religious book. It's about the principles of life that God has put in place. But of course, you find traditions there. You find human traditions. You find history and so many other things. So if you go and read, for instance, the story of the book of Job, with the mindset of God controls everything, like Job thought God is responsible for good and bad, then you would think, oh, God was the one who tortured Job, killed all his children, destroyed all his business, just because he's micromanaging and he knows what he's doing. That is not the picture, that is not the character of the living God that Jesus came to reveal. If you truly want to know what God is like, look at Jesus. I've done some videos talking about things like this using the story of Job, and soon I'll be moving on to other things. God is sovereign, I agree, but God is not a micromanager. God doesn't micromanage your life. God is sovereign. God doesn't micromanage your life. God owns the earth. God is not in control of every little detail of the things that happen on earth. That doesn't mean that he's out of control. No, God has delegated certain things to us, to man. Religion doesn't want you to know this truth so that you can be controlled. Wake up! There's so much that God has blessed you with, so much God has entrusted into your hands. That's why this video is coming to you, so that you will learn and be a better human being, be a better man. Thanks for watching. Peace. God bless you.